Hey YouTube, so while we've got the trailer in the shop, giving it a little bit of love, it's time to get some lights wired up on this thing. I'm tired of using the little magnetic stick-on lights on this all the time. It's a pain and it's just not great. So we're gonna try and get something set up on this. I've gotten started, done a few things. What we've gotten done so far is we've got some lights mounted. So here in the back, we're doing these 4-inch round LED lights. Mostly because that's what the hole was cut out back here in the back bumper for. Originally it had an older style incandescent light in it, but these 4-inch bulbs or these 4-inch lights work in it. You see I've only got 2 bolt holes there. Basically that's just because that's all I could get in it at the time. The other thing is like on this other side, this back panel, you can't tell it very well, but it's bent up pretty bad. Usually I would want to take the time to bend that back or cut it out and replace it or whatever, but I just don't have the time on this deal, and it would be a fair amount of work to redo that. So we're going to run these how they are, and it should work just fine. It'll probably last the life of the trailer. In addition to that, one thing I do like is having side clearance lights on trailers. So this one's got a bunch of the DOT tape, the reflective tape down the side, and that's nice for everybody else, but I like having the side clearance lights so that I can just pretty easy in my mirrors make sure that my lights are functioning. So while I can't see my tail lights, I at least know that I'm getting power to the trailer, and unless there's something wrong with the wiring or the light, that I've got power back here to the lights. So for positioning, these are mostly for my benefit. So you can see I've got one right here at the back side of the trailer. It seems like I end up backing up a trailer in the dark a lot, trying to park it somewhere or whatever. So having one right back here at the back, that gives me an idea of where exactly the back side of the trailer is when I'm backing it up. And then I positioned one other here right above the front tire, and that will just give me an idea of where that tire's at, and what I'm, you know, if I'm trying to miss a curb or something like that, I know where that tire's at. These are kind of neat little LED amber lights. Got them on Amazon. They weren't very expensive. It was a pack of 4, so we'll see how they work. But they just mount with 2 bolts, and then they take a hole drilled through the center to get the wires through. So we got those set up, and then up here on the front, I wasn't going to do this originally, but it just kind of worked out so that I decided to. So we've got one of these junction boxes up here, and I don't know if you can see, but are all color coded for the 7 RV wiring. So I'm going to do that. I originally was just going to run the pipe. So this trailer does have some conduit here for the wire. I was just going to run my wire up through here and then come out with a trailer plug. And actually the reason why I ended up doing this junction box is because I didn't buy enough wire. So I thought 25 feet of wire would be enough to get from the front to the back. Well, by the time you have several feet of wire sticking out here for the plug, that wasn't going to be enough. So instead of going and buying a 50-foot roll of wire, I just bought one of these and bought another short section of wire. So what I will do is I will have the wire come up through here and go into the box and bolt to these terminals from the bottom. And then I've got a whip made with the trailer plug that'll come out of the top of all these through here, and I'll put some kind of wire hold or something like that, and then that will be my trailer plug. So that's what we're working on right now. I just got the wires all trimmed so that I can get connectors on there to connect to those studs. I put a plug on there, so this is kind of seemed like a heavier duty one. It's like a cast aluminum deal. So I put all the wires in there. I screwed them down like you normally would, but then I also soldered all of them. So I'm big on soldering things whenever you can, so that's what I did in there. And then we're gonna go over here and solder ring terminals on the end of this so that we can get it installed. So to do these ends, I've got one of these one-shot wire stripper deals, and just strip enough for these I get these uninsulated ring terminals. Sometimes I get the ones from the hardware store that have insulation on them, and I just wind up pulling them off. But just enough to go in there, and then I crimp them like you usually would. See, there we go. Crimp them like you usually would, and then slide on. Don't forget your heat shrink tubing. And then I just solder that, and then put the heat shrink tubing on there. This is a tin lead solder I'm using. It's a rosin core, so it's got the what you call it, rosin inside of it, and then it goes pretty quick. Throw that on there. And a lighter isn't the best way to do this heat shrink tubing. I'd like to have a heat gun, but I don't right now. So there you go. That makes a pretty good connection that you won't have to worry about. So rinse and repeat about 15 or 16 times. So I'm pretty happy with how that came out. All the wires, you know, fanned out pretty nice, and then we'll have. So this is the one that comes out to the truck. So I'll get a wire stay of some sort and screw it into there just to hold that wire. And then this one comes down, and that's our plug. I've got probably just roughly around 9 feet of wire pulled out there. I measured that by hooking up to the truck and kind of jackknifing the trailer and seeing how much wire it was going to take. In here though, on my 2 different rolls of wire, everything matched up fine except my black wire here that's going to the plug. The roll of wire, the other roll of wire that I bought that's 25 feet, it had a purple instead of a black. So I don't know, that may just be the difference in the standard on some of these. I know like there's a 7 standard and then a 7 RV, so that may be the color difference there, but everything matched up. I just got to remember that purple is the new black on this. So it comes around and goes down into this tube nice, and then our next step will be taking the rest of the coil of wire, fishing it under here, and running it to the back of the trailer, straight back to the taillights. So whoever built the trailer left pretty good provisions for the trailer wire to run through. You can see it comes through the front of the frame there and through. They also ran conduit here along the bottom of the rail the entire way that I would have liked to use, but there's no way to get any kind of wire through that. Several of the places I broke the wire off inside trying to pull it out. It's just stuck to the inside of that tube and won't come out, so naturally I can't get anything back in. And for this project, we again just kind of need to get things going. So what I ended up doing is on each one of the bottom supports here, I drilled through, and we got zip ties holding it. So that's one reason I bought this heavier shielded cable, just in case I needed to do something like that. But not ideal, but I think it'll work pretty well. It's tied up here out of the way. It should be fine. So we've got that run straight back to the tail lights, and we'll take a look at what we got back there. So we're here at the back of the trailer now. This is my passenger side tail light there, and then my passenger side rear clearance light here. And it turned into kind of a, there's going to be a lot of junctions right here just because of everything that we've got going on. So this wire bundle here, that's what's coming straight from the front, from the plug. And then this wire here came in. So this is my side marker light that's up by the tire up there.
So it just ran straight back here. So what I've got going on is I'm gonna have to take wires. Oh well, also this, you can't see it very good, but in here, this is the wires that goes across the trailer to the driver's side lights. So what I've got going on is I've got a few different wires that I've basically got a piece 4 or 5 wires together. So for instance, right now I've got the grounds all put together, and then whenever I go to do just my running lights, so my running lights are brown. So this is the brown from the plug. This is what's going to be providing power. On these Chinese LED lights, the color codes don't match anything really. So white is ground, which does match, but for the running lights on these, it's the black wire. So I'll have to join this black wire. I'll have to join this brown wire to go across to the other side of the trailer and provide power over there. And then this, what turned into a brown wire whenever I extended it, to power this side clearance light. So I've got 3 or 4 sets of connections to make like that, and then we will we'll go over to the other side. Hopefully I can get this kind of cleaned up. I ran out of shrink tubing to get that cleaned up a little nicer, so I'm putting tape on it. I prefer not to use tape, but sometimes that's what you got. And with these soldered joints, it's usually not too big of a deal. There's not too much worry about any water or corrosion getting inside the joint and making the joint go bad. So it's mostly just to protect it from arcing and whatever. So I'm gonna get to work, see if I can get this spaghetti sorted out, and then show you what I've got afterwards. Here's what we ended up with. So I've got everything all connected and kind of taped together there. The extra wires that I'm not using, folded back and taped up. I'm not real happy with it. Usually I'd like to do a lot better, cleaner job with this, but basically I just didn't leave myself enough wire to make nice clean connections and route them how I want. So I'm not worried about anything. Everything's soldered together really well. I don't have to worry about butt connectors coming loose or anything like that. I just wish I had a little more wire to make it look a little bit cleaner, and also some heat shrink tubing would have made it look a lot better too. I think tape just kind of looks bad, but it'll serve the purpose just fine. So now we will head over to the driver's side. So this side, we're on the driver's side now. A little bit more simple. Got our wire coming from the other side of the trailer, and then I don't know if I covered this before, but the wire coming out of the back of these 4-inch taillights, the white wire is the ground, so I've got that tied to the ground. The black wire coming out of that is they call it dim lights, so these are just your regular running lights, and then the red light is the bright, so that's your stop and turn signal lights. So we've got all the grounds hooked together, got the regular running lights hooked together, and then just got to get this soldered up, and then we'll tuck wires up, and that will be about it.
Okay, wiring's all done. The dogs are excited out there. Let's see if we can flip them on for the first time and see if everything works. Well, I guess sometime in the light I'm gonna have to dig into it and see what's going on. Well, that was disappointing. I have no idea what's going on there. Absolutely nothing happened whenever I turned the lights on. So not to mention
being a little embarrassed having a failure like that in front of, I'm sure, dozens of viewers at this point. So we're gonna take a look at it. I've got the truck backed up here and just plugged in. So I think since nothing happened, since none of the lights came on, we're gonna start troubleshooting right here at the box. I'm wondering if maybe I don't have a couple wires switched, or you know, maybe not, maybe I've got a bad connection somewhere or something. So we'll get the old multimeter out. I know some people like using test lights, but you can find out so much more with a multimeter. So we're gonna get to probing stuff here. I've got the truck on, so I should have taillights right now. Alright, so taillights should be, my ground should be white and brown, and I've got nothing. Let's see if I've got anything anywhere. I've got zero power at all. So maybe we need to go to the truck. First, I'm gonna check some, I think I'm gonna check the pins on the connector and see if I can get this phone to shut up. Okay, well, I think I got it figured out. I'll see if I can show you here, if the camera will pick up what's on my phone. But I went to start checking the pins on the plug to make sure that I had them connected to the right colors, on as far as like which position was the color of wire that I connected it to. So I pulled up this little graphic that came from Hopkins trailers that I used to wire everything up, and I wired everything according to this little diagram right here. You can see, wake up, okay. And those all seem to match, but most of you probably already see that this is the one that shows under the vehicle side. So this diagram is pretty neat. It shows you which way to connect all the wires from the back of the connector, like you're looking at it while you're wiring it. But I should have gone by this one. And basically the difference is everything swaps sides. So you can see, if you can see, maybe the brown is the top right over here. Well, the brown should have been the top left over here on the trailer connector. And I confirmed that on the truck, checked the power, and I do indeed have power between brown and white on the truck. So I'm gonna have to undo those. Luckily, I like to solder everything, so after I connected all those wires in the back of there, I put a little dab of solder on there. So I'll see if I can get this apart without destroying anything. I'll probably have to reflow that solder and get the wires out, but we'll get that corrected and then see if we got some lights. Well, with the back cover off, I confirmed my suspicion on both the wires being in the wrong spot and the fact that I wouldn't be able to get these apart. So here I am trying to reflow solder. Oh, come on. There we go. Whoever did that did a really good job. So I'm gonna fight with this for the next 20 minutes or so, and then we'll see what we got. So we are unsoldered, moved, resoldered, double checked, and should be ready to go. All right, moment of truth. I see side lights. Yeah. 2 tail lights. And 2 side lights on this side. Okay.
Well, the hits keep coming. So you saw there, we got most everything's working pretty well, but we've got an issue with this right side tail light. So as you can see, my left side, I've got the turn signal on right now. There's a bright and a dim light, I guess, for these LED lights, and there's two different wires. On this particular one, the packaging said the black wire was the dim setting, the red wire was the bright setting. So both of these are wired up the same, but this one is constantly on the bright setting. So I've got one of two things going on. Either the colors are incorrect on the light, or we've got a defective light here. So I've already crawled under there and verified that the red wire, which should be the bright, is connected to the turn signal wire, and the black wire, which should be the dim, is connected to the brown taillight wire. So I'm gonna probably cut this apart and swap those and see if that resolves the issue, and if not, we're gonna wind up with a new light, I guess. Well, would you look at that? I'll show you what I've got over here. See the red and black wires spliced together? So I just cut those apart and swapped them. So now I've got this light wired with red to the running lights, black to the turn signal lights, and this one with red to the turn signal lights and black to the running lights. But both sides are working now. I guess that's what you get for buying the cheapest Chinese Amazon lights that you can find. But so we've got it going now finally. I'm gonna solder that together, put some heat shrink tubing on it, and we'll be ready to rock. Couple finishing touches and we're ready to go. So the wire comes out of the box, and I just put a little cable clamp there. I did have to wrap some electrical tape around there to get the size big enough to hold it good, but that's good and sturdy. And then I added this spring. This is like a screen door spring, so I've got enough slack in the cable to go to the truck that it would drag the ground. So this just kind of takes up the slack, and then whenever I need it, it'll stretch out. It's a little bit stiffer than I would like it to be, but that's about, it was the smallest one that I could find with any length to it, and I think it'll be fine. So that should wrap it up. Got, of course, the lights working. Got that one figured out. That had the cables or the wire colors switched around, and we should be good to go now. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe. Hope to see you on the next one.